All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life on the Flip Side with myself and my lovely co host, Crafty Keela. How are you, Crafty?
I am good. I am right now. I'm drinking a shitload of coffee. But other than that, yeah, I'm good.
Awesome, awesome. It must be pretty early in the morning for you still.
Um, Strangely enough, no. It's like 11:30, but I was up until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, watching modern day debates fail, epically fail, as they often do. But yeah, I'm good.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, well, 11:30 on a Sunday morning is ungodly early, no matter where you are.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that. But yeah, during the week, I actually twisted my knee, so I've been in
Ooh.
recovery.
Oh, no, what happened? How'd that happen?
I was just whatever way I turned or came down
Oh,
off a ladder or something, and all of a sudden there was like a sharp pain in my knee. I was like, "Fuck!" Managed to
really?
end, Managed to make it to the end of my shift though, which was remarkable.
Well, you're a tough lady. Wow. Geez, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better soon.
Yeah, the pain is pretty much gone. It's just a little bit of inflammation left. So I'll be back
Yeah.
in work tomorrow, I hope.
Well,
Ish.
just be careful.
Yeah. You should have seen I called my boss and I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, won't be in." And explained my knee was sore and he was like, "What happened to you? What'd you do? What'd you do?" Because obviously he was afraid that like he might be held liable. I was like, "Look, it's just something small. It's fine."
Yeah, yeah, but you don't want to push it either, eh?
No.
Cool, cool. So here we are, back for a second week on my channel this time. Thank you very much. And
Yay.
yeah, just gonna have a little bit of a hangout, just chit chat about stuff. I see you brought your goat with you today. Very
I
nice.
did. Snuck in. I can't leave him at home because he just cries all the time. This is the little
Well,
whingy one.
well, there you go. I just hope he doesn't start eating all the cushions off these lovely chairs.
Yeah, I think you're more at risk of him getting into like the peanuts
Ah, okay.
behind the bar.
Yeah, we've been. Well, I don't know if he can reach them.
You'd be surprised.
Ah, okay. Well, we'll have to keep a close eye on that. So, how have things been? For me, it's been a busy week as it always is, and hot, humid. Oof, it's just the way it is here. How about you?
It's summer over there, isn't it?
Well, we're moving into the dry season, yeah. So it's gonna
Yeah,
start getting pretty hot.
for us we had snow. We had snow this week. We had
No,
snow in the middle of January. Cause
wow.
fuck life. I mean,
No,
when I say we had snow, okay. When I say we had snow, we had like a quarter of an inch, so it wasn't life stopping. But they've been on the last little while saying, it's gonna be like the beast from the east again. No, it's not. No,
no.
it's not.
Yeah, I have to be honest though, I miss snow. I haven't seen snow since the last time I was back in Canada. It was almost 8 years ago, I think.
Yeah, you need to go on like a little traveling spree. Do what Irish Demon is doing. What? Get a little channel, specifically for traveling, and just like film it all.
Cool. Yeah,
That'd
he's
be cool.
supposed to be coming my way.
He says that, but I've already spoken to him about this. He said
Mhm.
you were one of the first he's going to visit, but if he doesn't come to Ireland first, he's going to be in serious, serious trouble. I'm just going to say that now.
You lay down the law, have you?
Absolutely. Someone
Oh,
has to. It's Demon. He doesn't listen
li-
to anyone.
I hope you're listening, Irish. Watch out. Don't get on our bad side. You could end up regretting it.
Oh, I love that. Tuss says, I remember going to Poland and they had plows on the buses. Here, half an inch is about enough to shut down the entire country. Yes, Tusk, because we are woefully unprepared for any type of snow. Um, in
It's
certain
not,
parts, in certain
it's
parts of Europe, they have snow tires on their tires. We don't have snow tires in the country.
no. Well, you don't get enough snow during the winter to warrant it.
Yeah,
It's mostly rain you get, right?
Yeah, yeah, big time. Um,
Wow.
there is a laugh over here that like it can be raining, sleet, hailstones, little bit of snow, and clear skies all in the one day, and it's a normal day in Ireland. Right? That's
Hmm.
yeah.
You know, one thing though, if Irish does come this way and he comes to visit me and he records it all, I swear to God, I'm gonna on camera call him a fucking tourist.
Yes, please. Oh my God, we have Jutmonk the drunk monkey in the chat.
Ooh,
Hey, Jutmonk.
monkey, how you doing, brother? Good to see you again.
We may have to drag him on later,
I think you're right. You
just
want
for
to
a
come on there,
catch up.
monkey? Give me a thumbs up if you want to come on. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, this is just a random. These are random chats, so by all means, if you want to come in, because we haven't seen you in so long. I haven't seen you in so long, so
Absolutely.
Jutmonk is coming on our little pilgrimage to Barman's.
Oh, does
He,
he?
yeah,
When
he's
are you
not.
guys doing that?
I have no idea. Whenever the lockdown is lifted, when I've been vaccinated, that's when. That's
Ah,
when.
okay. You gotta
So
get video. I want video of Barman's place.
absolutely, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, Barman lives just off a campsite. His pub is just off a campsite, so it's the best place for everybody to go. So we're
Mhm.
gonna invade the Barman.
That sounds like it's gonna be a fun time.
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing the link here for Barman or for Monkey. I'm gonna send it to him so that if he does want to come on, he can just hop on in. Sound good to you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Let me just do that right now.
See, here's the thing about these chats. You never know who's going to be in the chat, and you never know what's going to actually happen.
True enough. True enough. That's what I like. You know, keep it open. Let friends come and visit. Why not?
Never again says I'd love to visit Ireland, but I probably wouldn't leave. Yes, you would. Yes, you really would. It gets very fucking cold. And do you know what it is? You talk about the humidity. We have humidity here, but the problem is the wind would go right through you. So the actual temperature, or the temperature might be like in the high teens, but it will still feel like 5 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're not under the freezing line, so you're not going to really feel it that badly.
We don't have it as bad as Tusk,
Hmm.
but we have it
Well,
pretty bad.
Scotland can get pretty cool. That's for sure.
Yeah. That being said, um, on down on the farm, because of where it was situated, it was like on the edge of the Gulf Stream, so we got better weather than half the country, except
Hmm.
for when it was stormy. When it was stormy, Christ, the local shop actually had boulders thrown through it by the sea.
Wow. Monkey, I saw you in the chat. We usually run for about 90 minutes.
Yeah. So if you want to come on in a little while when you're free, definitely.
Yeah. Although Tusk is a little upset about it. He basically says, just as Jump Monk comes in, I'm off to see real monkeys. Have fun.
Yeah, and by the way, on Piparet's stream later, he has a Terry Pratchett quiz. I wasn't able to get to last week's one, but I might have to have a look. I might have
Yeah.
to have a look.
She does those every week, doesn't she?
Yeah, but the quiz was written by Tusk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Tusk knows what a huge Terry Pratchett fan I am. Pratchett is one of my favorite authors of all time, so I
Uh-huh.
definitely will have to jump in at some point.
Sounds interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that, see if there's a topic that comes up that suits me and might jump in and jump in.
Come here. Half the fun is not knowing the topic and just having a laugh.
Yeah, true enough. Just come up with all kinds of strange answers to all kinds of questions. I could pretend I'm a flat earther. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I hear.
Yes, Dave says, Critical Cripple says, the wind here is evil. The wind is evil.
The wind is evil. Here
Absolutely.
in Vietnam, the rain is evil.
Used to cold, wet, and cloudy. Never again. You should definitely come over. So don't worry, they will kick you out if you don't have a visa after a couple of months. They are nice like that.
Yeah, so there's no danger of getting trapped. You know your ass is out sooner or later. Yeah. So is that the standard in Ireland, like a 3-month visa for tourists?
Well, for the US, yeah, we have a joint partnership with the US. We've always had a special relationship with the US. So if you have, I think it's a Canadian or a US passport, then you're able to come over for 3 months on a tourist visa.
Okay.
So, and we can do the same to Canada and Ireland and the US, which is awesome. I really do need to get back to the US.
Yeah. What would you do if you went back?
I'm a typical tourist. I'm going to be honest with you. We have to get into this actually because we were talking about this. I think it was last week after the show, but I'm very much stereotypical tourist. But
really,
yeah, I go full on tourist. But at the same time, right? So I used to be a cross country runner. So I walk very, very fast. And when I was over in the States, it was in New York. I was able to navigate my way around New York, having never been there before. I navigated my way from the big, huge train station, which I can't remember the name of, to Central Park, which was about 23 blocks away or something.
Wow.
I was impressed by myself.
What was your time?
Yeah, I found the zoo, found Central Park, which is like, the zoo is in Central Park, but still, I found it. Central Park is fucking huge. I navigated my way. Yeah, I did all the touristy stuff. I brought my friend who lives in New York. I brought her to the Empire State Building because she's like terrified of heights.
Really?
Yeah.
You can really be cruel when you want to be, huh?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I didn't make her go out on the balcony. I went out on the balcony. She just had to be there.
Ah, okay. That's right.
I just kept telling her, look out, don't look down, just look out. And then we went higher up and she was like, you know I hate you. You know I hate you. So, but she actually really, really enjoyed it. She did really enjoy it because she was at the window. She wasn't like right up against the window. So when you go to the Empire State Building, like about 2/3 of the way up, there's a balcony that you can actually go out and there's a cage on the balcony. So you're safe, but you can actually go out onto the balcony and look out at New York skyline. You can go right around the building. It's amazing. Yeah. And then when you go up further, you can't go out on the balcony. There's just no way. So it's literally all just glass.
You know, I can just picture Taddy Bogle and his mankinis going, I hate you. You know, I really hate you.
Yeah, that's what happened. So yeah, I'm a real tourist, but then having lived in a tourist area, I fucking hate tourists.
Oh, I know. I do too. I'm guilty of the same thing. I've been a tourist as well. And the first few months I was here, I did the tourist things, you know?
Yeah.
But
so what is some of the touristy things in Vietnam?
Well, the touristy things, first of all, is the War Museum. Everybody, that's the obligatory thing. You have to go to the War Museum, learn about the Vietnam War. And then there's the Ho Chi Minh City Museum, where you learn about Ho Chi Minh and his the city of Ho Chi Minh and the history of Ho Chi Minh. And then there's the obligatory street food. You gotta go on all different places and try all the different things like pho and ben sao and ben bao and you know.
But can you explain what these things are?
Okay.
Because I'm a proper noob.
Everybody knows pho. It's like Vietnam's version of chicken noodle soup,
Ooh.
right? Got the flat rice noodles, uh, the boiled chicken, and a really nice rich broth. It's very simple. It's very traditional, but if you come to Vietnam, you have to have pho. You just can't come to Vietnam and not have pho. And you can have it either with beef, with pork, or with chicken. My favorite is chicken. Um, and then there's something called well, my personal favorite. It's called banh xeo, which is like a Vietnamese pancake.
Ooh.
This is this big egg battered pancake kind of thing, and it's got shaved pork and shrimp and all kinds of bean sprouts. They shove it in there and fold it over, and then you eat that with other herbs and vegetables, like in a leaf of lettuce. You roll it up, put in some basil leaves, some what's called nook mum. And if you don't know what nook mum is, it's death in a bottle. It's fermented. It's
It's
fermented
fermented
fish,
what?
fish sauce.
Ew. Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
it's like fermented fish that and they extract the brine from that fermentation. They make a sauce. It's called nook mum. And although it smells like hell, it actually tastes quite good. And
Yeah,
you dip,
I don't have a sense of smell, so I'm good.
yeah, you should be okay. But there's
Yeah.
one here. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the shrimp paste. And I swear to God, when it comes to you in a bowl, it's purple. Okay. And this thing, this paste, it smells like 100,000 of the worst sweaty feet you've ever smelt in your life.
Ugh.
It is ungodly, the
So
smell,
very appetizing then.
the reek. But when you put it in your soup or something, it actually tastes pretty good. Um, they also serve what's called bun rio. Bun is another type of noodle, and it's with vegetables, and you can have it bun rio up. Up is snail, or bun rio kua, which is crab.
Ooh,
Um,
I like crab.
and but with some of these soups, so the bun soups, you'll get little dark brown cubes, almost like a jelly, floating around in it that or that they put in there with it. And basically, what it is pig's blood, kind of like
Nice.
black pudding, almost like black pudding, but not as gritty. It's like a gel almost. So blood cubes, either chicken blood or pig blood. They'll throw that into the soup with it.
Yikes.
Yeah,
See,
there,
we
there's some,
are much less sophisticated over here. Everything is potatoes and fish and like beef. That's it.
mhm.
That's what we exist on. Or pig. We
Well,
do like our pig. I don't like bacon, which Bacon Earth is not happy about. But I do like ham-ish. It does get a little bit salty, but I can tolerate it a little bit. And I love pork. Pork is my favorite.
oh man, we've got some pork here, some pork dishes. Awesome, unbelievably awesome. Um, we actually have these baby piglets, just tiny little baby piglets that they put on a spit, and they'll just slow roast that
Nice.
little pig all day.
So
And by the end of it,
what's the
huh?
worst thing? What's the worst thing for you about tourists?
Um, the worst thing I think for me about tourists here in Vietnam are they come to Vietnam with the intent of learning about the country and seeing the country and all that, but they expect everything to be just like back home in America,
Yeah,
and they expect it to be treated the same way, and they expect the same laws and rules to be applicable there here as they are back home, and everybody should behave that the same way they do back home, and they expect the traffic to be the same like it is back home. Well, guess what, you dumbass, you're not at home, you're in Vietnam. Deal
agreed.
with it.
So here's the thing about Irish people, right? Um, a lot of the tourists that we get are sometimes obnoxious like that. But they have an expectation. They have an idea of what Ireland is in their head before they come. I'm sure
Mhm.
you feel the same way about Vietnam, but they have this unrealistic expectation that like we're all fucking leprechauns jumping around and singing all the time.
Mm.
But as an Irish person, when a tourist comes up to you and asks for help, you there's that weight. There is the weight of expectation on the friendly Irish. And
Mhm.
you don't want to be the one to break that. I have
Yeah.
actually taken people. So, one of the main streets in Dublin is Dame Street. Uh, and on Dame Street, you have Trinity College at the end of the street, and then working your way back, then you have Central Bank, you have halfway up the street, then is City Hall, and then you have Christchurch. I have actually brought people from Central Bank on the way to work. I have gone the opposite way to take them up to Christchurch.
Oh, geez.
You don't just, as an Irish person, you rarely just show people where they're going, but you actually take them. Because
Yeah.
there is that weird, back when I was able to take the time to show people around. But yeah, the GPO is something else. Like you'll see people ask for the GPO and you have to take them there and then you have to show them the bullet holes that's in the GPO. It's like tradition. Most
Okay.
Irish people will do it. Most Irish people, not all, but most Irish people. So
For, Forgive my ignorance, but what is GPO?
the General Post Office, it's where the 1916 Easter Rising was. So
Ah,
everybody that comes to Ireland wants to see the GPO. They want to see the holes in the GPO. And they're fucking clear on display, like, but they want to put their finger in one of the bullet holes.
oh, that's gross. That's morbid.
It is, but at the same time, that was the start of independence for Ireland. So
Yeah.
weirdly enough, we are oddly fucking proud of the bullet holes in the GPO because we held out. That's where we held out, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the spark of the revolution. So it's a weird, it is morbid, but it is weird.
Yeah.
The pride that we have in the GPO. So down in Cork, then, I lived in a specific place, and you had to get a boat to get to where I was.
Mhm.
And what annoyed me most was people who, because the boat was a passenger boat, but you'd be sitting on the boat and people didn't know how to talk quietly in the cabin. That
Mhm.
would wreck my head. Or they would be leaning over the side of the boat to the point where they were nearly falling in, looking for dolphins and whales.
Jeez.
Like that'd annoy me.
That would be something I think you'd probably have a bit of a hard time with down here in Vietnam because, really, generally speaking, Vietnamese people are loud people.
Oh
Everything
no,
they do, they
it's
speak
fine.
loudly.
It's fine. I don't mind people being loud, but when you're in a cabin on a boat, you know, chill. Chill to fuck. Chill to
Yeah.
fuck. That
Yeah.
like that's what annoyed me. But
Mm.
having said that, because I was in farming and because we were a tourist area and we were the only ones really that would show our animals. As
Mhm.
soon as I don't know if you've ever gotten it, but when you're in tourism, the
Mhm.
tourism sector, like I was, uh, it's like a performance. As soon as
Yes.
that doorbell rings, you're on. The lights are
Yeah.
on, you're on. You
Yeah.
are the representative for your whole area, not just for the place that you are, but for the farm, for farming in general, because a lot of people that would come to our farm, they came for the ice cream. We did
Mhm.
6 flavors of ice cream. They wanted the ice cream. That was
Mhm.
fine. I would always make a point to ask, would you like to see the goats? Because most people would never have met goats before in their lives.
Mm.
And so you are literally representing the entire species to these
Yeah.
people and introducing these species. And you have to, as a teacher, a good teacher can inspire for a lifetime. A bad teacher can destroy interest in any subject. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing as a tour guide or as a farmer. You have to inspire. You have to inspire. The passion that you speak with when it comes to the subject that you're involved in, you have to inspire that passion. Otherwise, they're going to leave saying, yeah, I don't want to meet goats again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Or that was a waste of time. My biggest fear was someone leaving saying that was a waste of time.
yeah, there's nothing worse than that, because that gets around quicker than wildfire.
Yeah.
Word of mouth can destroy.
Hello, Demon Orb. Demon Orb just came into the chat.
Ooh, hello,
Hello,
Demon.
Demon.
Haven't seen him around in a while. Oh, the barman's in the house. Barman,
I
how
see,
are
Barman.
you, sir? You do realize that Crafty and I are plotting to come and absolutely ruin your establishment.
Yeah, invade the barman. It's
Invade the barman. That's
code
right.
name invade the barman.
The call is out. Invade the barman. Stand behind us, everyone. We shall invade.
Barman can't wait. So I do know, I do know that Cats and Seek Truth is coming. Pip, hopefully Tusk, and Taddy. Taddy has said he's coming.
I
And I
wish I
think
could afford the airfare. I'd go too.
we're invading the barman.
Invade the barman.
Never again, says Barman. Go live so I can join when they do. I'm hoping to do interviews and stuff.
That would be fun. It would be interesting to get some insight into the clientele that frequent his establishment.
Oh no, not for them. I'm talking about Colon. Colon has to come too. No, just of the debunkers. Whoever comes, and we'll just have a laugh, and that's gonna be awesome.
True. No.
So Barman has to have a lot of fucking whiskey because there's 4 of us from Scotland, Ireland. I'm gonna try get Math Big over as well.
I have a feeling that whiskey and beer are 2 things he never runs out of.
Yeah. Don't forget my internet sucks, but we'll definitely do something. Yeah. When you're not gonna have a choice. It's gonna happen.
That's right, man. Crafty. When she sets her mind to it, that's it. It's a done deal before it even happens.
I can be very stubborn. Very fucking stubborn.
I love it. But getting back to the topic of tourists, the one thing I hate the most is this, and I'm sorry to say it for anyone out there who happens to be an American, but it happens to be the case. So many American tourists and a couple of Canadians I've seen as well, they come to Vietnam and they treat the Vietnamese people, all of them across the board. They just look at them like servants.
Jeez.
Like they're beneath them. They have that attitude of, I'm from the West. I'm from North America. You are lower than me.
It's either servants or the pity.
Yeah. It's like, oh, man, fucking tourists.
Fucking tourists. I love it. Bar wife is giggling on the sofa, listening to us talking about invading the barman.
Invade the barman. That's it, everybody in the side chat. Hashtag invade the barman.
Whoop whoop. Has to happen.
Oh, I don't see him.
Yeah, I can't do 2 things at once. And I know people say that a lot of women can multitask. I can't. I'm terrible at multitasking.
I'm not that good at it either. I've managed to do it at work at a limited level, but really I need to focus on what I'm doing. I can't have 2-3 things going. I just lose it.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't multitask at all.
Yeah, give me my one main task and let me focus on that. I get more done focusing on one task alone until it's complete and moving on to the next than trying to do all three at once.
The only time that I can multitask is when I'm driving.
Hmm,
That's the only time I can multitask because you have to do five different things at once.
that's right. But that's ingrained in you when you train to be a driver, when you learn to drive. That's part and parcel of what it is.
Yeah, I had three different tests.
Oh God. No,
No,
really?
yeah, it's not even that I'm a bad driver. Behind like so when people see me on screen, they realize they think that I have a good deal of confidence. For most of my life, no, I don't. So what was happening was the first time I had a driving test. I'd been through a course. The unemployment services sent me on this course for van delivery driving. I had never driven before in my fucking life. And
Hmm.
what tended to happen was I got so nervous that my legs would actually feel like jelly when I was stopped at like a red light because I didn't know what I was doing, or I wasn't comfortable with what I was doing. You'd have your foot on the clutch and your foot would be fucking shaking. So yeah,
Oh,
my and then you'd have the tester would be telling you what to do and where to go, and I'd get like really fucking nervous. That happened twice.
wow.
And the second time I went for a driving test, it was because the reason I failed was because I was using a car that I hadn't used before. The instructor that I was, who was a friend of a friend, she got a new car the morning I was due to take my test,
Oh,
and the clutch kept sticking,
oh
which
no.
again made my legs feel like fucking jelly.
Oh, jeez.
The third
That's
time I did my test, I was fine.
cool.
I'd
Cool.
been driving a while by that stage.
Well, when you're driving, what's your Achilles heel? Like, what's the one thing about driving
Don't
that?
ask me to reverse. Do not ask me to reverse. So where I lived, the roads that we'd have to drive on is literally wide enough for one car.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're going into a ditch
Mm-hmm.
on either side.
Yeah.
And so you'd have entrances to houses where you could pull in and let someone else go the opposite way. But don't ask me to reverse. And everyone in the area knew I was not reversing for love nor fucking money. I would sit there for half an hour if I had to. You were doing the reversing.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't reverse. Can't reverse. But I
Verse.
can't. I can reverse. I just really fucking hate it.
So I guess it's pointless to ask if how well you parallel park.
I can parallel park fine. I can actually
Oh,
parallel
that's
park fine.
reversing. That's
But
reverse.
I can't reverse. I can't reverse over any real distance. Parallel parking is you're turning the wheel, you're getting into a space. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but you're
that's
still
fine.
reversing.
But you have to remember where I was reversing, there was a ditch on both sides, first of all. It was
Okay.
it was winding roads. The roads were tiny. Any faulty movement at all and you were stuck in a ditch. So I gave myself a complex. I wouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. So it's kind of like almost a self-inflicted wound.
Yeah. Yeah. It gave me a complex. I was not fucking reversing. Like I'll
Oh,
reverse into a garden. That's fine. But
yeah.
any distance, and you could be reversing like for 2 or 3 minutes to get a space to pull in to let someone take over you. I wasn't doing it. I just was not doing it.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I guess some people do have a phobia about certain things when they're driving. Um,
Like
I don't
American clutches.
American clutches.
No,
How
like
is it
Americans with clutches. Americans can't clutch. Or I should say most Americans can't clutch.
true?
They
I don't.
can't drive a manual car.
Mhm. Well, because most of them have learned to drive on an automatic, and it's all they've ever driven. So when they're
Eh,
given a standard, they're kind
Lightweights.
of okay. How do I get
Lightweights.
When you were first learning a standard, did you bunny hop your car?
Bunny hop.
Bunny hop, you let the clutch out too quickly
Oh
in
yeah.
first gear, jumps forward and then stalls and jumps forward and then
Oh,
stalls and
absolutely. But I wasn't as bad because the instructor that I had, again, when I went for lessons, it was under a course. Only in Ireland could they teach you how to drive with a course designed for van delivery driving.
Mhm.
Like, just get your head around that for a second. They were
Yeah.
sending you a course to get your license to drive a van when you couldn't even drive a car.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It's the same in Canada because it's a different class license. It's
Yeah.
a different type of driving. I know a few people who have their class one license for the 18-wheel highway trucks, the long trailers, but they don't have a driver's license for a car.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Hmm.
Can drive a shift load ones.
Yeah. And then there's the farmers who don't need a license at all because they're driving farm equipment on their farm. They figure that's good enough, so they go on the road with it.
Yep, I've done that. I've
Oh,
done that.
there's nothing.
I loved driving a tractor.
Go, well, you see, that I was just going to say, there's nothing worse than piling down the highway and all of a sudden seeing this lumbering old tractor
With a
lazy
silent.
going out onto the highway, and all of a sudden you're slamming the brakes, looking at doing a shoulder check, trying to get over to the next lane to get past him, and the farmer doesn't even look back. He's like chewing on his piece of wheat and
Chewing on wheat.
yeah, the
That's a
stock.
stereotype.
Yeah, well, it's true because where I come from in Canada, it's mostly wheat fields and canola fields. And you see it all the time.
Well, I can honestly say I've never seen a farmer chew on wheat while driving a tractor.
Yeah, I've seen it many times. Seen it many times. And
No,
another,
I loved driving a tractor. And the Jeep. Oh, the Jeep just made everything so much fucking easier.
oh yeah, was it like an old American Army Jeep or?
No. It was a farm Jeep. It was
Okay.
it was a proper farm Jeep. So obviously you'd only have two seats in the front, and then the
Yeah,
rest was rigged up for farm equipment and stuff.
gotcha.
It was cool. It was easier to drive with the 4-wheel drive and stuff like that.
So tell me, what is the one thing that you miss the most from the farm?
My babies.
Your babies, your goats. That's why you brought one with you.
Yep.
Which one was your favorite goat? Come on, there must have been one.
Everyone asks that. When I was there, everyone used to ask that. And the thing with it is, when you have animals, when you have children, you can't pick your favorite child. And people have to remember, like, I helped deliver those goats into the world. They were like my babies. Yes, a
Mhm.
farm Jeep Beach 8. I had a farm Jeep. You should look them up. They're really cool. So there were of course there were favorites for different reasons, but every single one was your favorite for a different reason. So
Oh,
like Anis. Anis was the herd leader at one stage.
uh-huh.
And what was amazing about Anis was her level of intelligence. And Carl Edwards says, "Want to bet what you have a favorite child? Really?" But Anis was so intelligent. What she would do was, we had a goat called Mint, and Mint died when she was a month off 23. She was one of the oldest goats in the world, but because she wasn't properly registered, they wouldn't recognize her as such. But she was actually registered. We do have the papers that were filled for her registration when she was born. But Anis, before I was kind of writing a book on them because I just find them so fascinating. What would happen was every so often we had three old ladies. There was Mint, Isla, and Gemma. And Gemma
Mm-hmm.
had polio as an infant. Yes, goats can get polio. So she didn't have the proper use of her front legs.
Oh.
They would get locked, and so she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't walk as far.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, Carl Edwards. I don't have children of my own, so I can pick and choose. Nice. Um, so what would happen was every so often after the milking, we had this bank area where the goat house was, and then we'd have a little bit of greenery with a hill, so that the new babies would be able to kind of gain their build up their strength and stuff before we sent them out. And this was protected by a gate. And every so often, Mint and Anis would just walk down to the gate. Nobody else would go near them. The babies would all stay away, and they'd stand there just looking at each other for about 3 minutes and then come back. Now, they didn't do it all the time, but more often than not, in the last days of Mint, she would do it a lot more. But on the days, I figured out, right? On the days where they would separate themselves off and have that little discussion, because goats have more than just their bleats, which they have about 27, 28 different bleats, but they also have different ways of visual communication. Their ears are hugely important to them for communication. So on the days that they would actually separate themselves out, what I was finding was Mint, Isla, and Gemma would stay back up around the first two fields, and the rest of the herd would go right down to the end to the cliffs. And then they would rejoin the herd when I went to call them home. And it was great because all you have to do was call Anis, and Anis would come, and the herd would follow Anis. And it was remarkable watching them in single file walk up the hill. It was just brilliant. So what I figured out was that little conversation that they would have was Mint telling Anis, me and the girls are going to stay back because we're not really up to keeping up with the herd. You don't have to worry about us. But on the days where they didn't have those little breakaways, the three old ladies would keep up with the herd, and Anis would keep watching out for Mint and Gemma to make sure that they were keeping up with the herd. Like, that's a level of sophistication that we don't really ascribe to most animals. Cows are the same. But it was remarkable watching the interaction and putting two and two together. So Anis was definitely one of my favorites just for her level of intelligence and getting to know just the intelligence levels of goats. We did have a group come over from, I think, Finland or Sweden or something. I think it was Finland, to test the goats.
Really?
Ilon, who became the herd leader after Anis, and again, one of my favorites for many, many different reasons, she registered a level 4-year-old human child. She was the equivalent of a 4-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. I never knew that about domesticated farm animals.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
They would give them different problems to solve. And Ilon, I used to call it, when Anis was head of the herd, I used to call Ilon head of human relations. Because she was the one who would come over first to suss you out. And if she liked you, she would send out a bleat, or she wouldn't say anything at all. If she didn't like you, which I only saw twice, she would send out a different kind of bleat, and the goats would all scatter.
Wow. That's really...
Yeah.
You know, I heard somewhere once that the truth of pigs is that they're not the dirty little animals that everybody assumes they are.
No,
From what I've heard, they're actually quite clean.
they're
Is that true?
pigs are very intelligent creatures, and they are very clean. They don't like to be dirty.
Hmm.
Um, they will roll around in mud because to regulate their body temperature, but then they
Hmm.
will spend the next like 8 hours cleaning themselves.
Uh-huh.
So literally, it's just about body temperature. When they get too hot, they will roll around in mud, but then they will spend the next several hours cleaning themselves.
Yeah.
And
But
there's
it's
there's
just,
um there's a grooming pattern when it comes to pigs, that they will groom each other like cats.
oh, well. It's interesting when you actually stop and learn about that stuff, you know? There's so many things that people assume about farm animals and farm life. Uh, there's so much beneath the surface that you most people don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I started writing a book on the goats a few years ago. Just little stories. One of my favorite stories was I was playing with some of the new babies on the bank, and I fell and rolled
Hmm.
down the hill, but I badly sprained my ankle.
Ooh.
And Ilon had just come out of the milking parlor, so the girls, the volunteers were up. The volunteers were cleaning out the milking parlor, and she was there when it happened. She seen me fall. She was at the top of the little hill, the incline, and she came down, sniffed at my foot, and I kind of pushed her away. So she went down to the goat house, turned around, came back, and just stood there. And I was sitting there like, sometimes she'd come over because she wants a cuddle, or she wants to be scratched on her cheek or whatever. So,
Hmm.
I scratched her on her cheek, and then I pushed her away again because I was in severe pain. Um,
Hmm.
they actually thought that I fractured my ankle at one point, but she kind of kept moving in closer, and eventually I had to like push her away and then try use one of the rocks to pull myself up. And she kind of braced herself. She was stomping around. She was in the one spot, but she was stomping her front feet.
Hmm.
Um, and when I used the rock to get up, I put my foot down, and the pain just shot up through my leg, and I fell onto her.
Oh.
Very, very slowly, she started walking me back up the hill. And then she sent out a distress signal that they only send out when their babies have gone missing. They're looking for
Uh-huh.
their babies. And that brought the girls out of the milking
Wow.
parlor. So her first instinct, because she recognized me from the milking parlor, she associated me with the milking parlor. She knew that my own kind were in the milking parlor. Her first instinct was to get me back to my own kind.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. That's so cool.
That is incredible.
It is. Wow.
So yeah, I love telling that story because it's one of those. But what was remarkable as well is if I left the farm for longer than a week, so if I came back to Dublin to visit family, or whatever, when she recognised me, because it would take a couple of minutes or a couple of hours for her to realize that I was back, and who I was. What she would do was she would come over for 6 years. She came over and sniffed at the ankle that was injured for six
To make
years.
sure it's still okay. Wow, that is so interesting, man. You ever thought of finishing that book?
I've thought about it. I just haven't had the energy, or every time it is quite upsetting. So I've kind of trying to get some distance from it, but eventually, yeah, I'll go back and finish the stories because what I wanted to do with it was teach people about the true nature, and with the stories include the technical details as well. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is the aim. I will eventually finish it, but yeah.
That's understandable. Well, I hope you do finish it eventually. Make sure you send me a signed hard copy, okay?
Definitely. And hello to Chris Durham, who's in the chat.
Oh, Krista, hello. Chris, how are you doing? You know, you should call the book My Bleating Heart.
Yeah.
That
I've
would
had
be.
a few suggestions for the book because I mentioned it to people that I was writing it, but yeah, no, I love the stories. I love telling the stories because the stories are incredible. Um, some of them, it's one of those things that you had to be there to believe.
Mhm. I'm
But
sure. I'm sure you've shared a lot of those stories with the tourists that visit.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
Like that as I said, like one of my main concerns was when tourists would come that they'd actually feel like it was a waste of time. I didn't want that. And so when I brought them down on the way down, I would tell them stories. Or as a goat came up, um, a goat tail, a goat's tail. As a goat would come up to us, I'd be saying, well, here's her story, or here's his story, and um I'd be able to point them out. And the best thing for any parents out there, you'll understand this. Uh, one of the most frequently asked questions I got was, how can you tell them apart?
Yeah, I guess for the untrained eye, it would be difficult.
Yeah. For anyone that has children, and you'd have people with 4 or 5 kids with them. And I was like, okay, well, let me ask you a question, not to answer a question with a question, but how do you tell your children apart in the playground?
Hmm.
Like, it was the only way to answer it. Because
Yeah,
they all had their little tell signs, you'd be able to tell them apart very easily if you were there every day of their lives.
yeah. Watch them grow up.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was a very interesting foray into the world of goats.
Yeah. People understand now why I love them so much.
Yeah, I can see. I can see quite well how much you love being there. So, but anyways,
Next
back to
topic.
our, yeah, back to our topic of tourism. If I was going to come to Ireland to visit you, let's say, what would be the best time of year for me to go?
Oh, probably May or June.
Really?
Yeah. May, especially. May is like the last 2 weeks of school. So, you're
Mm.
definitely going to have the best weather. Or the first 2 weeks in September. That's pretty good. It depends on what the weather is like that year.
Yeah,
Um, but for the most part, May, June is the best time of year.
that's cool. Because I've always wanted to visit the UK. I never had the chance, but I hope at one point before I die, I do. So cool. All right, next topic. You got anything you want to discuss other than goats?
Wait, do we have like we're not this organized. We're not this planned to have set topics. This is a
No,
random chat.
just talk about whatever happens to come up. You know, we still got 30 minutes. So, what else do you want to talk about? Let's see. I
There
can't really
was there
think.
was something, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, you know what? I've been getting so interested in the goat stories, I've forgotten what I wanted to talk about. Holy mackerel.
Although I will say this. So I had I can't let this stream pass without mentioning it. I had a live stream there on Friday.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was one of the most difficult topics that I've ever had to talk about. Um, and kudos to Tusk, who came on, who just displayed an absolute level of resilience that only survivors of this kind of shit can display, of real trauma, of real inhumanity, of real fucking torture. He was incredible.
It was a
And yeah, I'm in awe of that guy.
Yeah, so am I. I'm quite impressed. It takes a lot to be able to admit some of the things that he admitted and talk about the things that happened. Yeah, I was oblivious. I never realized that that kind of thing was in Ireland's history.
Yep. And I think that's why I wanted to do it, because there are a lot of members of our community who wouldn't know the ins and outs of different cultures and different countries, and they
Hmm.
wouldn't know the horrors. And yet, it is a horror.
Hmm.
But I was saying it to you before the stream. This is still happening. This is still happening
That's
in
the whole.
Latin America, in parts of Africa. It's still happening, and so the only way to stop it from happening is to actually talk about it. Uh, but it takes a lot of courage.
It
It
does.
to be able to tell your own story, your family's story. It takes so much courage because it takes so much energy of your own heart. And one of the um, one of the difficulties, and Tusk kind of alluded to it very clearly, it's the fear of rejection. It's the fear that you will tell something so true, but because it's so horrific, people reject it.
Yeah. And you.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's so sad that that stuff is still going on in today's world. You know,
Yeah. And
you,
it's hard when you hear stories like there was one story that came out. 500 people, by the way, took part in that commission, came out and told their stories, and told the stories of their parents who they were ripped away from.
Mhm.
500 people, one of whom, the one that'll stay with me, like there's many that'll stay with me, but one of the most horrific was the idea that during labor, one nun in particular sat on the chest of the woman given labor
Oh
and
God.
hurled abuse in her face while sitting on her chest and crushing her just so she
Oh,
would push.
unbelievable. There's just no forgiving that. There just isn't.
And what annoyed me was the idea that we're all to blame. Just throw that out. These are horrendous crimes. They used the word inhumane once in the entire report. They used inhumane once.
Jeez, they should have used it for every second sentence.
And it's the ability to say, we're all to blame, so nobody's to blame. No, 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 no. Real blame has to go, has to be given. And
Hmm.
there are people to blame. There are ways that they can rectify it, as Tusk said. One of the best ways is for the Catholic Church to say, yes, this happened and we're sorry. Um, there's ways uh, of solving it by taking healthcare and taking education off of these people, off of these institutions that are still running things. I mean, I said it on the stream. The last couple of years, we were in the planning stages of a new national maternity hospital for Dublin or for Ireland,
Hmm. Yeah,
a national maternity hospital. Who were they given the contract to? The Bon Secure nuns who ran Tuam, where 800 infant skulls were found.
oh man, that's unbelievable.
They were giving it to the same order and allowing them to control the National Maternity Hospital. Now, that being said, at the same time, we had just launched the campaign to repeal the Eighth Amendment, which was a constitutional ban on abortion. Now, if the Bon Secure nuns had secured that contract only for there was absolute outrage, they could have denied women access to abortion legally.
That's just wrong.
Like at the moment, because of the Eighth Amendment and because of the laws that came in to accompany it, you are now allowed to have an abortion up to 12 weeks in this country without giving a reason. Anytime after that, it has to be the health or life of the mother or
Hmm.
fetal abnormality. But can you imagine after all of the devastation of the mother and baby homes, the county homes, the Magdalen laundries, that you would give something so precious, something so important to the nation back to the same fucking people?
That's unfathomable to me.
It was
And
to
yet,
most of us. We were like,
um,
who the fuck thought this was a good idea?
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you did that stream because that shit needs to come out in the light. It needs to come out, and people need to know what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
silence
I
will silence will only allow it to continue.
yeah. I think it was more along the lines of, first of all, to anyone who has suffered in similar ways, that there are people here who will listen, who want to talk, who are more than willing to give you a platform if you want to talk. And the other thing is to make our community, our little community area of the internet, aware that there are survivors in this community who need compassion, who need support, and who absolutely deserve it. I think
Hmm.
that's what compelled me to do it, because so many of our community um, wouldn't have known
Hmm.
that this was happening. So I just wanted to make our community a little bit more compassionate.
Yeah, we could all stand a little bit more of that in this world. There's just not enough of it.
So yeah, that's what life is like in Ireland. Fucking hell. We still have on every state school. This is state school. It's not
Hmm.
even the private school. The private institutions, the private schools, there are denominational schools. There are Catholic schools. There are Protestant schools. There are Jewish schools. That's fine. The state schools still have a requirement to have a member of the clergy on the board of directors,
You're kidding.
on the board of management. Yeah, I'm serious. These are
Well,
state schools.
hmm. They got no business being any part of it. It's a
Nope.
state. It's a public system. Should be no religion at all.
So I
Hmm.
think in that regard, I don't know, Vietnam maybe a little bit ahead of our curve anyway.
Yeah, well, we don't really have religious-based schools here. There's no such thing as a Catholic school or a Protestant school. It's all government public school. You know, so yeah, I think we're ahead of that. They
I
got it
hope so.
right. Yeah,
I hope so.
yeah. I've not been to a single school in Vietnam and seen a clergyman of any kind.
So
You
what
know,
is the school setup there? Like what would be kind of the emphasis in education?
here it's mostly well because of the government system in place. A lot of it is very heavily based on Vietnam, but the core subjects, math, science, uh, they're taught, but not to the same. Math is very important here. They seem to focus a lot on getting the kids high level maths abilities. The science they teach in the Vietnamese curriculum is really very, very basic. It's almost, I wouldn't even call it science class. It's more like uh, how would you say, public health class.
Hmm.
So, but lately there's been a really big push on improving and increasing um, English in the schools. They
Okay.
teach English, and a lot of schools have special programs, which is what our company does. We teach English, maths, and science in English. We teach proper science. You know, not just a
Nice.
name of public diseases and how to stay clean. I mean, there's more to science than that. So in our program, they do get exposure to proper science, physics and at the grade school level, basic concepts like forces and light and shadows and how day and night works and the planets and general grade school science. It's they get a lot more of that kind of science from the international programs,
Yeah.
but in the Vietnamese system, it's very, very limited. It's really mostly about public health, learning the names of diseases and pandemics and things, and and how to avoid them, how to stay clean and prevent them. But that's as far as it goes, pretty much.
And what would be the biggest health risk in Vietnam at the moment?
Right
Other than the
now,
coronavirus. Other than the coronavirus.
actually, coronavirus is not that big of a problem here anymore. We're almost back to normal. And in the whole scheme of things, we've had about 1,500 cases, 1,300 recovered, and about I think a total of 35 deaths. Our numbers are low because they're tough here. They don't play around with that bullshit. There ain't no such thing as anti-vaxxers or anti-maxers and maskers in Vietnam. You're an anti-masker. You're either a foreigner and you're gone. You're on the next plane home, or you're in jail, or you're heavily fined. But either way, there is no anti-masker crap, no Karens here. You know,
I'm just trying to
there.
find. I think the yesterday's figures. Hang on. Um, I think they were near 4,000 again, new cases.
Hmm.
So we're getting like 3 to 4,000 a day.
Wow, that's crazy. That's unbelievably crazy, and it's
Um,
worse in the states. It's worse in the states. It really is. I can't get my head around it. I just can't get my head around it. You know, this is serious shit.
yeah.
Millions have died. Millions have died. How many more need to die before your dumbass figures it out and you put a damn mask over your mouth?
So yesterday in Ireland there was 60 deaths and 3,231 cases.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
60 fucking deaths in one day.
We're just about back to normal here. I mean, the only thing really that we still have to wear masks at work and when you're out in public, that's still mandated. But other than that, most of the big emergency pandemic measures are gone. Everything's open. Restaurants are operating as normal. Life is almost back to normal because we did what we needed to do and we followed the fucking rules and we got rid of the shit.
Yeah.
You know, you come to Vietnam, doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what your medical history is. You land in Vietnam, you are going straight into quarantine for 14 days, and there is no negotiating. You either go into quarantine or you turn your ass around, you get back on that plane and get the fuck out of the country. They don't play around here. They don't play around. If you're not wearing a mask and you cause someone to get COVID, you are going to jail for 10 years. There's no,
10
there's
fucking
no
years.
negotiating.
Imagine.
Yeah, there's no negotiating. And that's the way it has to be. Because now we have the benefit of being damn near well back to normal, you know?
Nice.
And that's what they need to be doing in the States. Fuck this freedom of speech and all my Fourth Amendment rights and blah, blah, blah. That's all a load of horseshit. Your rights end at my health.
Reach 8 says we're getting 3 to 4K dead per day.
Wow.
That's
See,
terrifying.
that's unexcusable.
Do you ever
And
think? Do you ever think in 100, 200 years time they'll look back on us and say, "Why the fuck didn't they learn from the Spanish influenza?"
exactly. Exactly right. And most of the world, thankfully, has learned. You know, we've got it under control here in Asia, and we're doing damn freaking good. You know, but you figure the United States being the most powerful nation, the most advanced nation in the world, supposedly, they're dying by the thousands on a daily basis.
It's shocking.
You know, and they're still running around. Oh, but I have a medical condition. I can't wear a mask. You can't make me wear a mask. That's against my rights. Fuck you. I don't give a shit who you are. Get a mask over your freaking yap or stay the hell at home. That's just the way it's got to be. It's the only way you're going to beat this thing. And the federal government in the US has to make it a federal law. No negotiating, no governor's mandates. No. Across the board, all of the US, this is the law. Wear a mask or get a huge fine. And if you make somebody sick, you're going to prison, just like they do
Yeah,
here
for
in Vietnam.
us, we're in level 5 lockdown, so only essential workers can move freely. Even
Mhm.
with that, so you can't go beyond, I think it's 2 kilometers from your house, unless you have a letter from your employer to say that you're an essential worker.
Yeah.
So I have a letter. I carry my letter with me everywhere I go. I was going to get the bus
Mhm.
outside of my workplace because I had to
Yeah.
walk 15 minutes to get the bus. And I was stopped by a police officer.
Uh-huh.
And I was still wearing my mask, like. And as soon as the copper came up, you know, where you going? And now it wasn't like a stop and search and getting overly aggressive. She was like, where are you going? And I says, I'm going home. She's like, from where? Do you mind me asking? And I says, oh, I was in work. And I was whipped out the letter immediately. I was like, because they can give an on the spot fine of 100 quid.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it's so fucking low, I think it should be £1,000. But the reason why it's so low is that's a realistic fine to impose. If you were to put like 500 or 1,000 or £5,000 on it, it's not realistic to actually impose. And you're more likely, because we have this thing where we believe that we govern through consent.
Mm-hmm.
And if you make it too unrealistic, people will not consent. And then you're left with getting out the public order coppers and shit like that, people with weapons. And you don't want that. You don't want that. You want ordinary police on the street to be able to deal with the crisis without things getting out of control. We do have a few nut jobs. And I will be covering them soon. Here's the thing. I don't like covering Karens. I don't like Karen videos. I've said this before. I don't like Karen videos. And the reason I don't is because one, a lot of their attitude can be explained via the theory of alienation, the feeling that you have no control and lashing out and releasing that frustration on the wrong people. I would not like to be seen at my worst moment. I would not like to be remembered for my worst moment. And that's what the Karen videos do. At the same time, I understand the appeal. The other reason I won't watch or do Karen videos is because there's no, like with soft sits, like with First Amendment auditors and shit like that, there's no justice there. It's just pointing and laughing and saying they're idiots. There's no payoff. Do you know what I mean? There's no satisfaction for me watching a Karen video, just watching someone go fucking apeshit at a video, like, or at a camera. There's no payoff for me.
Yeah.
Yet their behavior needs to be called out, but I don't get any payout.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I agree. I mean, you can only point and laugh so much. They're not going to change. They're going to keep doing what they're doing week after week after week, you know? But like with sovereign citizens videos, at least you get the payoff of watching them get arrested, which at least is something, you know?
But even with that, it's not getting to the root cause of why they think they're entitled to act like that, or why they're driven to act like that. I suppose is the main thing for me.
Yeah, I agree. I can't disagree with that.
Like there is no, yes, for a lot of the sovsits, the videos that I've seen, there are the police who will try and negotiate and discuss with the person, with the sovsit. But there's nothing deeper than that. It's like skin, it's skin thick, like, you know,
Yeah, skin deep. Yeah.
skin deep. There's no deeper layers to it. There's no explanation as to why these idiots feel like they can go around and do this. And again, in regards to most conspiracies you can dissect, you can explain, you can win people away from it, like flat Earth. You can win people away from it.
Yeah.
With sovsits, you can't.
No.
You know, it's just pure entitlement and lack of control in their own lives, which leads to the frustration that they take out on the guards, or they take out on a shopkeeper, or do you know what I mean? That's it. It's that basic.
I agree. And things need to change. You know.
Heat Shield says, I just saw an anti-masker dragged out of a Starbucks and handcuffed on the hood of a cop car. Sometimes there is a little satisfaction. Nice.
I disagree. Yeah.
Sorry, rant.
Absolutely right, Beach 8. Flat Earth fucker is Canadian. That guy is an absolute asshole. I mean, this guy will walk into a hospital without a mask and cough on people, for Christ's sake.
He should be arrested for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's even been Canadian politicians who have on air called him an idiot.
He's beyond an idiot. He's purposely endangering public health and safety during a pandemic, and he's because he's coughing on people, he is technically assaulting them.
Yeah.
And causing a nuisance. So he is breaking the law.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an embarrassment to Canada, and there's just no room anywhere for a shithead like him. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the way it is.
Did you see the 1 hour video on Baldy Cat's channel towards Rachie?
I'm not sure which one.
Yesterday, Katz released a 1 hour video, a debunk of everything Rachie believes in terms of flat Earth. And
I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. Yeah,
it is brilliant.
That's in my watch later list. Yeah, for sure. I gotta get on that.
Oh, my watch later list. I have about 700 videos in my watch later list.
Yeah, I know. It just keeps building. Can't keep up with it all. It just can't keep up with it. You know, I'm so busy with other things too. And by the way, did you know that I'm working with Cats on a new podcast?
Yay!
Which is going to be coming out hopefully in the next week, or the first episode. We've got 5 in the bag now. Yeah, it's a podcast by teachers for teachers.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a teacher, the ups and downs of teaching, the tedium of teaching, the challenges of teaching, teaching methodologies, and anything to do with teaching. So watch out for that podcast, everyone. We're going to start it out just the audio podcasts on the big services like Spotify and BuzzFeed and so on. But eventually, we're going to start a YouTube channel where you can watch them online on YouTube. Yeah,
looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Well, if whatever channel you have it on, here's my experience when it comes to dealing with cats. Whatever channel you have it on, do not give him the password, or do not let him dominate the password, because he will forget it.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened with his podcast with Ranty.
Yeah, well, he told me the same things.
He forgot the password for the one with Ranty, and they got locked out. And he forgot the password for agree to disagree at one stage, and they got locked out of that. By the way, I don't know if Barman is still in the chat. Barman is going to be on Agree to Disagree tonight.
Ooh.
doing oh, I can't even remember what he's doing. But he has a debate on agree to disagree tonight.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I gotta make sure I set that up so I can watch that. Wow.
It's on the death penalty.
Cool. Oh, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a really good one. Wow.
Yes. Thank you, Daryl.
We're 2 minutes away from 8 o'clock. So
Yes.
should we start wrapping things up?
Yes, absolutely. Well, really quickly, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing now for the next week, but there will be something at some stage. So keep looking out. Trying to think of what I actually have to do next week. I do have to get the video out on social contracts. That's going to be my main project. And I'll try to get that out before the weekend. But other than that, I don't know if I'll be going live next week, in terms of next Friday. We will be back here we'll be on my channel next Sunday.
On your channel. That's right. Yeah.
But other than that, yes, Pip has a stream, so I might pop into Pip's stream. You have something very, very exciting to show people, don't you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, not only am I doing a lot of stuff with cats that's going to be coming out soon, I'm also in the midst of preparing season 4 of The Pain of Progress. So I thought we'd say goodnight, and I'd just leave people with the promo for series 4, and we'd call it a day.
I cannot wait for that.
So we're going to say goodnight here, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Make sure you check out both Crafty's channel and my channel. Do us a favor, help us out, like, share, subscribe. You can support me on Patreon here on my channel, and also you can support Crafty on her channel. She is so eminently deserving of it, so please consider it. And with that, I'll leave you with the promo for The Pain of Progress. So good night, everybody.
Bye, people.